Parak HaMoicher Beis Kor, Daf Kuv Zayin, sponsored the Refuah Shalema for Hadassah Bas Miriam. The Gemara discusses the law concerning a creditor of a deceased person who collected a debt from one brother after the brothers divided their father's estate. Is the brother who paid the debt entitled to reimbursement? The Gemara brings three opposing opinions. Rav holds Batla Machlokes. The brothers dissolve the original division, pay the debt, and divide whatever remains anew. The principle of Breira, retroactive clarification, determines whatever each heir received at the time of the division was his share at the time of their father's demise. When the father dies, each of the heirs receives a definite share of the estate. The division only clarifies the shares received. It does not affect their status as heirs, requiring both equally to dispense of their father's debt. Shmuel holds viter. The brother who paid the creditor forgoes reimbursement. He does not rely on Breira to determine each brother's share. There is no way of ascertaining who inherited what initially. The brothers resemble purchasers, exchanging their true shares for what they receive. Each brother cedes the rights they may have had in the original division in return for the brother doing the same. Therefore, when the creditor collects from one brother, it is no different than one collecting from one who purchased a liened field. Although, generally a purchaser is entitled to be reimbursed by a seller because he did not invest his money to forfeit it to a creditor, this case is exceptional. Brothers prefer dividing quickly, foregoing guarantees. Rav Asi is in doubt whether to apply Breira to our case. He therefore holds it is a case of Mammon Hamutal B'Safek. The brother who paid the creditor is entitled to partial compensation. No tel Reviya B'Karka or Reviya B'Mos. He can compensate either with land or money because he can claim I would have paid the creditor money, not land. The halacha follows a Meimar who holds Batla Machlokes. The Gemara now discusses a case where three judges disagreed about the value of land belonging to orphans. One valued it at $80, one at $100, and one $120. How does the court determine the correct price? The Gemara brings three opinions. Tanakama holds we do not assume a margin of error. We adopt a compromise between the highest and lowest evaluation, in this case the middle judge's claim of $100. Rabbi Tzadok holds we do assume a margin of error of 10. We adopt the midpoint between the first two judges, $90, and disregard the third judge's estimate as too great a margin of error. Although the same claim could be made for the middle and highest evaluation, tafasta meruba lo tafasta, perhaps its value is not that much. Acherim hold, we assume a greater margin of error to account for the third judge's evaluation, not to dismiss it entirely. We calculate the difference between the highest and lowest evaluation, divide it in 3, and add the results to the lowest evaluation, resulting in this case to $93 1/3. Although Rav Huna and the Dayani Gola decided the halacha according to the Acherim, Rav Ashi did not understand their calculation and therefore rejected their opinion la halacha. Now we move on to a new Mishnah. The final Mishnah of the chapter discusses a sale of part of a field. The first law states, if one sells half of his field, mishamnin beinehem, and the buyer acquires half the field. If the seller specifies the southern part, mishamnin beinehem, and the buyer acquires half of the southern part. Rabbi Yochanan explains the term mishamnim. Rabbi Yochanan explains the seller retains the superior quality. The field is divided into two halves of equal value. He can give him a larger portion of inferior land. He proves it from the Sefer that states, Mishamnim Beinehem, where he sold him the southern part of the field. Dividing the superior land has no bearing on this law unless his intention was to sell him the value of the southern part. The term Mishamnim Beinehem means there will be a qualitative difference between the seller's and buyer's portion. The last ruling states, in addition to the buyer's equal share of the field, he must allow him space to build a fence, and beyond it 2 trenches with a tefach space between them. The Gemara explains the necessity for 2 trenches. A wide trench of 6 tefachim is built on the outside of a narrow one of 3 tefachim to prevent animals from jumping on the fence. By building both trenches, the animal cannot balance itself on the lip of the narrow trench or jump the distance from the wider outer trench. If you're enjoying Daf 5, click on the link below, subscribe, and become a sponsor. If you are listening to the Daf 5 podcast, be aware that you can listen with a visual aid simply by pressing on description in the menu. Hadron Olach, Perek HaMoicher Beis Kor.